Okay, today's class is dedicated for my father's yahrzeit, which is today, and Rav Tzvi ben Yaakov, Shem should have an aliyah. So let's... And sponsored by Rabbi Maradi.
No, this is from before.
Okay. Okay. Page, second column. Shh. Okay, so now the Rebbe is explaining that in order to bring Elokus down into the world, you need the milk, which is the level of Torah, learning Torah, and so on and so forth. And it says Torah Shebeksav, Torah Shebal Peh. The Chochmah is Torah Shebeksav, is the Torah Shebeksav. The mother's milk is Torah Shebal Peh. But then the pasuk continues and says, Emtsoacha b'chutz. If I find you on the outside, who does that refer to? So it refers spiritually. It refers to people that are outside the yeshiva, outside the Torah, meaning they are balibas, baliasokim, it be people that are in business. Even though it's impossible for them to learn Torah constantly. That it should nourish from the mother's milk. So how do they bring Elokus down into the world? Because they're not, we just got through learning before, that the Torah brings a person down into the world, so how does it work? So he says, Mikamakaim, nevertheless, Aleim Nemar. The pasuk says, Mikamakaim emtsacha b'chutz. Gamkein, even outside, they can be the level of a brother. How? V'inyen, hine, matzinu v'akadosh baruch hu nemer, gamkein loshin kainem. By Hashem, it also says the word kaina, like it says, kaina shemayim va'aretz. Simply it means Hashem created heaven and earth. The Mishnah Pegyav says, Chamisha kinyanim kana kana HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem acquired 5 things in the Mishnah Pegyav. Chamisha kinyanim kana HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'ilamai. So he says, what does that mean? 6 days Hashem made heaven and earth. And then the 7th day he rested. He said, because it says Shabbos. That means every 7th day is a level of Shabbos. Shabbos LaHashem. He says, Shabbos is the Achshav. Yom HaShvi. So now he says like this. Hashem says you should rest on the 7th day. Okay, simply means 7th day of the week. But Shabbos is called the 7th day of creation. How can we thousands of years later call Shabbos the 7th day of creation? The creation happened 5,500 years ago. So he says, how can you call Shabbos Yom HaShvi? And that obviously the answer is it means the 7th day of the week. But in a deeper sense, why is Shabbos the union of 7? So he explains, the 6 days, that's why, like it says in the Zohar, it doesn't say b'sheshis yamim. Grammatically, it should say b'sheshis yamim. In 6 days, Hashem made heaven and earth. It doesn't say b'sheshis yamim. It says sheshis yamim asa Hashem, which literally means the 6 days Hashem made.
God made the 6 days, right?
No, it means more. He says the 6 spheres, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, created the world. Meaning, by Yom HaRishon was the let there be light is the level of Chesed. 2nd day is Gvura, 3rd day Tiferes, and so on. And then on the 7th day, then the world becomes elevated to the original source of the 6 midas. What does that mean? It says in Chumash, we say it every week in Kiddush, in Shmon Esrei Kiddush, Vayechulu Hashemayim va'aretz. Simply it means Hashem finished. Hashemayim va'aretz. Hashem finished heaven and earth and everything in it. But the Medrash says, Vayichulu comes from the word kiloyin, longing, elevation, longing to something. On Shabbos, the whole world is elevated to a much higher level. Vayichulu loshin kiloyin. So what happens every Shabbos of the year? Every Shabbos of the year, the Aved of the 6 days of Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, and Yesod become elevated into the level of Malchus. Ubimidas Hashvi, the level of Malchus. V'zeh, it said, V'zeh vayichul hashemayim, loshin kol sanafshi. The expression of longing, like we say, L'chad deidi l'kras kala, boyichala. Therefore, in the bracha achas me'in sheva, what we say Friday night in the mini repetition of Shmoneh, what do we say? Right before Magen Av, we say, Keineh Shemayim V'aretz. What does that mean? Kinei Aliyas Ha'olam is b'Shabbos. The fact that the world, the concept of the world's elevating on Shabbos. Like we learned, Shabbos elevates all the days of the previous week, and Shabbos blesses the next week. That means any Yom Tov, any day that existed in the previous week, Shabbos elevates to a level higher than it was before. So he says, what does it mean, the level of Shabbos? How does buying and selling work? It means to acquire things. I give you money, and you give me the object. By days, okay? So how do you acquire something? I give you money, meaning I lose money, I give you money, and then I get something from it. So so just like the 6 midas, the 6 fetus, go down into the world. Levad needs to refine the world. On Sunday, the Aved is Chesed. Monday, the Aved is Gvur. Every day a Sfira comes down into the world to elevate that part of the world. Through this becomes the elevation of Shabbos. Mitura the Pruda, from mountains of separation, to the level of a private domain.
Also every 1,000 years, every day.
Every day, yeah. And now you have 6 years Shemitah, 6 days Shabbos, 6 years Shemitah. You know, seven cycles. Then yeah. But what's interesting, this concept explains a Gemara that really doesn't make sense. Somebody asked Rabbi Akiva, if your Hashem keeps Torah, Hashem desecrates Shabbos. He makes rain. You're not allowed to water your garden on Shabbos. He makes people born. He makes people die. Those are all the different malachas. He makes things grow. So yes, Rabbi Akiva, then how does your Hashem keep Shabbos? So what did Rabbi Akiva answer him? Rabbi Akiva answered him, by Hashem, the whole world is Rishus HaYachid. It's a private domain. So it's seemingly a ridiculous answer. Because that only helps for carrying. Carrying you could carry because everything's a private domain. But you can't kill in a private domain. You can't water your lawn in a private domain. How does that answer the question? What did he answer? What did Rabbi Akiva answer this guy when he asked him how does Hashem desecrate Shabbos? Rabbi Akiva said it's Rishus HaYachid, so he's not desecrating Shabbos. So what's the explanation? Chassidus explains. During the week, the world is a Rishus HaRabim. Like he said, the midas come down. You have to deal with world. There's a world. Hashem created the world. What happens in Shabbos? The world becomes elevated to the level of Atzilus, Bittul Telukus. What's that? The whole purpose of not working on Shabbos, because in the realm of Shabbos there is no world. During the 6 days, you have diversity, Rishus HaRabim. Shabbos becomes a Rishus HaYachid. So in other words, the whole concept of Shabbos is to bring down the unity of Hashem. There is no world. The only thing that exists on Shabbos is Hashem. There's no world. There's no diversity. There's no level of Elokim, so to speak. It's all Yudke Vavke. It's a level higher than world. So that's what Rabbi Kiva answered. By Hashem, everything's already Alma the Achdus. It's already a world of Yechida, of only Hashem. So therefore, the whole concept of Shabbos is to stop from creating. But by Hashem, it's always like that. So the whole concept of Shabbos by Hashem exists anyway. What? That's a separate issue. How does if Hashem stopped creating, how does the world exist? There has to be continuous creation. If Hashem stopped creating, how does it exist? So the answer is, Hashem stopped creating with speech, which is again, external revelation of Hashem. He created with machshav, which is an internal revelation of Hashem. But it has nothing to do with this concept. It's still, Shabbos is a level, like he says, to make from the diversity of the week into one domain of Hashem. Like it says on the, in Latin over there, on the currency, the papupas, whatever. To make from many into one.
So this is from our angle.
Huh?
This is from our angle.
Yeah.
So with Hashem's angle, every day is Shabbos.
Correct.
How do you explain all the continued activity and
Of what?
of everything that happens in
Because by Hashem, it's already that level of unity. It's already that level of Achdus.
with what?
His existence.
Is this different, Maimar? How did we get here? Is this different or is this
He's
not?
talking about the Yidden tell Hashem in the time of Golus, would you please be our brother?
Right.
Okay. So he said, how do you do that? In the time of the Beis HaMikdash, it was through the Kruvim and Aveda.
Right.
See, then he started explaining great lengths. It's the level of Torah. Learning Torah, that's the food that Hashem brings down. So now he says, what about the people that are not able to learn Torah all day? They're in business. So he's explaining now the concept of world. The way world is elevated. Bali Asokim, basic business people, in other words, yeshiva boys that sit and learn, they're not involved in world. They're involved in elokus. Guys in business, so he's saying that even people in business, and that's how he's in the middle of it, so he didn't finish it. Even that is called acquisition. What's business? Buying and selling, basically, So that aspect exists by Hashem also, and he's in the middle of explaining it. He's just explaining that during the week, the concept is to deal with world. Shabbos, you elevate world to a stage of godliness. A state of godliness. In other words, like this. What the Alter Rebbe is leading up to, the purpose of business people is to elevate the sparks of Kedusha that exist out there in the world. Yeshiva Bachim can't elevate that because Yeshiva Bachim and Yeshiva, they're not dealing with world. When you deal with physical world and you do business properly, so then you're elevating the physical world. That's called Bachutz. The sparks of Kedusha that are not in Torah mitzvahs, in the realm of the ghetto yeshiva, so to speak. This is already dealing with world.
So, Anshe Asakim, they can raise the godliness better, more effectively than Talmidei
In many
Yeshivot,
respects,
than
yes, more like the Rabbi Rashab said to Rabbi Eli in Yom Yom Elibed. He said, I'm jealous of you.
Yes.
Because you're in business, you say a word of Torah, you teach somebody something, you put tefillin on with it, whatever.
Where is the possibility that Hashem should be our brother at the time of God?
I imagine it's in Shir Hashirim, but I'll tell you in a second. I'll tell you in a second. This is Ayin Tes. That's okay. Ayin Tes. Now we're on. No, the Maimer begins. Ayin Tes Gimel. Shashirim Perek Ches Pasuk Aleph. And he says the connection to this pasuk, Rabbi writes in the back, the connection to this pasuk, the Terumah, is because it deals with the Kruvim, which is Parshas Terumah. Okay, weiter. The whole, what's the purpose of Golus? We learned many times.
Elevation.
To elevation of the world. It's like he says, Gam ken ayidei zeh, mis'alim anitzutzus shenaflu shama, to the oldest sparks of Kedusha, like he says, the Shamas Rabbi Kiva, whose father was a Ger, Rab Meir came from Gadim, Avadia Ger Tzedek. These are all people that were elevated from the Klippa of Bavel and Rome and all those places. And he said, you're going to gather your grain. Now, what do you mean when you gather grain? When you gather grain, you take it from different places and you bring it into one place. If it's already in one place, you're not gathering it. It's already gathered, right? You gather grain and you bring it into a place. Make it from diversity into one. That's what it says. You're going to gather your grain into one place. When a person deals with business, the Fanya says to support his family, it's a descent. In other words, you're going out into the corruption of the world, into the world of Sheker. Becomes elevated. When you daven with the koyach of that food, and you learn with the koyach of that food, then it becomes limsa nafshe be'echad. Therefore, we know the davening is instead of the carbon tamid. Now, by carbon tamid, it says oilas tamid, meaning it goes up. Mincha elevates the sparks of kedusha that a person did in the business world. And all, it's another interesting point. All the weekday davening, misalim b'tfilah Shabbos, becomes elevated through Shabbos. In other words, just like Shabbos elevates everything of the week, all the davening of the week becomes elevated on Shabbos. That's what it says in Kabbalah.
It gets released.
It comes released and elevated. And that's what it says. Emsacha b'chutz. Hashem says, the pasuk says, I will find you on the outside, meaning, Shengam bali asokim, even business people, yimtso'el b'chutz, will find godliness on the outside. Why? He says, Shaidei eskeim, through their business. In other words, like this. Now, Rebbe until now explained, what's the Avodah now? So he says, when you learn Torah, that's Hashem's food. The milk, the bread, right? That's the Avodah. So he says now, for business people, their avodah is through business. Because they also elevate the sparks, and that causes Hashem to want to be in the world. It's the same food for Hashem. There's Torah, avodah, and the Gemilas Chesadim. These are the pillars the world stands on, meaning those are the three supporting beams, i.e., the three things that bring God into the world, that keep Hashem into the world, that the world stands on, meaning because Hashem is here.
On the condition that you spend the money in the way of Hashem, not for toys.
Well, it depends what you do with the toys. Donate them to a preschool, yeah, it's good.
It's the most challenging is to bring God in
Asakim. It's an unbelievable concept, and this is what the Rambam writes, what Judaism is, and this is a mistake people have. People, you know that in Yiddishkeit, the shul, davening in a shul, takes up a very limited amount of the day or the week. Think about it. You daven, let's say, 2 hours in the shul. Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv, 2 hours in the shul. That's out of 24 hours.
Or 18 hours of being awake.
Whatever, it's still minimal.
Right.
Because Yiddishkeit is eating and sleeping and business and gym and whatever. That's all Yiddishkeit. It's all serving Hashem. That's what Chassidus explains. When a person serves Hashem the proper way in business with the right intent,
it's the most challenging.
I know it's very difficult, which means that's why the Rebbe Rashab said, I'm jealous of you. But the fact that a person is in business with those challenges means, very simply understood according to Chassidus, Hashem says, I trust you that even in the challenges of business, which is probably most times more challenging than learning in yeshiva a whole day, even though it's very hard, by the way. But the challenges, that means Hashem says, I trust you in business, and I trust you not in business. I don't trust you in business. Therefore, you're a teacher. You're somebody else. So a person realizes, yes, it's a great challenge, but would Hashem give you the challenge without the koyach? So you do have the koyach. Somebody else doesn't have the koyach. It's very simple, but it's remarkably profound. I mean, like Hashem put a person in a situation because Hashem says, I trust you, you could do it. Don't let me down, basically. Don't let me down.
Just reveal.
Just, yeah.
Rabbi, you have people who are extremely successful in business.
And cheat.
Pardon?
And cheat.
No, they're decent people, but they have no business in Torah. They have no knowledge, and they don't spend
Not
any
yet.
time.
Not yet.
You know, you know them?
Growth.
You know them?
Yes.
So then why aren't you talking to them?
Are you kidding? As soon as I open my mouth, they shut down.
Good.
They see me and they go the other way.
Well, that's a lot of reasons.
But they support the people who are
Not really. They don't really care.
They don't
Begrudgingly.
Maybe, like it says
They're
in
decent
Hayom
human beings.
Hello.
Yes.
Maybe there's an Hayom, the famous Hayom of Hayir from the Baal Shem Tov, the Mordechai Tzaddik said the name of the Baal Shem Tov. It's worth for a neshama to come down into the world for 70, 80 years just to do one favor to another person. It's worth the suffering and the hell, literally it's hell, Gehenna, for a neshama to be down here in the world just to do one favor. So maybe those business people, their Aveda is different.
Yes.
Maybe their Aveda is to do favors for people. And many of them do, by the way.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so maybe that's their Aveda. It's not our business. Our business is to talk to them again and again until they'll hit you. That's what it says in Halacha. And then once they hit you, you don't have to do it anymore. But no, to speak to them. And maybe, the Rebbe always said, the Gemara says, Dvarim hayetzim min halev, words that come from the heart, enter the heart, and have its effect. Dvarim hayetzim min halev, nechnasim halev, u'pelim pulasim. Perhaps, maybe, we should think, maybe I didn't approach him the right way.
Oh, that's for sure.
Maybe I don't mean it. There was a guy in England, his name is Avram Glick, the ambassador to Rebbe, like in different countries. When he went on Mitzvah Tefillah, nobody said no to him. It was interesting. Guys, Bacham go on Mitzvah, and he said, no, it came to him. Somehow the guy put on Tefillah. Yeah? Because if you mean it, if you really mean it,
Sincere.
when we're Bachrim yet, so my cousin that comes to Shneur Goodman, hasn't been here for a while, but so I didn't drive as a Bachrim, so he rented a mitzvah tank. Those were early, talking about 1975, 74, 75, and we were out in Chicago doing Mitzvah and Tefillin. Pesach, when we went home. So there were some girls, one was the daughter of Rosh Yeshiva and whatever, the yeshiva over there. Anyway, they came over to us, they said, wow, could we try it?
Put tefillin?
No. So they said, yeah, you want to try it? Ask the people if they want to put on tefillin, and, they come back half an hour. We're not, nobody wanted to put on. I didn't want to tell them this, but the reason why nobody wanted to put on tefillin by them is because they didn't mean it. They didn't really care that the person put on tefillin, that it touched your soul. Yeah, it was fun, let's go and get a guy to put on tefillin. You want to touch the Jewish soul, you got to mean it.
Rabbi, the story of this Russian guy couldn't speak.
Oh, yeah.
The Mendel.
Beautiful.
The Mendel Futterfass.
They put
It was the Mendel Futterfass on a plane. Me Jew, you Jew,
You Jew.
me tefillin, you tefillin.
And they put it on.
Yeah.
You have to mean.
Okay.
Judaism is so sweet.